for tuning in with us today on our Let's Paint series of lessons for painting in oil. Well, we've talked about the materials and what you'll need for the beginning of a black and white shaded or toned oil painting. The next thing we'll need to get started is your palette. Now your palette, you can either go on and purchase a disposable palette, which is basically wax paper with a white backing, or you can do as I've done and actually invest in a glass palette. A glass palette tends to come with a razor or a scraper that every time you're done with your paint you can just go on and scrape it up. So the 10-tone chart is a way of understanding the difference between light, middle, dark, and all the tones in between. We'll go from one extreme to the other so that we can understand how it changes from one to the other. Now I'm going to work within this box. So I'm going to spread some paint. And umber will be the darkest shade or tone. Going to give ourselves the extreme. Okay. After we've got that, it's easy to just change up. Take your brush, dip it in the turpenoid, and I'm scrubbing the turpenoid side to side against the edge of the jar instead of sticking the brush all the way into the jar. The reason you do that is because all of this paint that you're cleaning off the brush, it sinks to the bottom. So if you stick your brush in the bottom of the jar, you're going to be pulling up all the sludge that you were trying to get rid of before. Don't pull, because what happens is you tend to pull actual bristles or hair out of your brush. It's best to just fold your paper towel over, squeeze a little bit, and scrub. That's all you really need to do. I'm using a good sized blob of paint. And on the other extreme. Alright, so now we've got our extremes. Our extreme light and our extreme dark. So we've already got our light, which is, we'll call it our number 1. Okay? We'll add just a little bit of our middle tone. Move the paint around on the palette, and once you think you've got something decent, you can actually take your brush, hold it up in comparison, and they're pretty close, so we can go just a little bit darker so that we can have contrast. Contrast in this case is in regard to the difference between one thing and how it looks relative to something else. That's not too bad. So we'll put that in. Notice I'm using the flat side of the brush, not the tip of the brush. When you use the flat side of the brush, you're able to cover more surface area and move around more paint, which is the most important part of this exercise that we're doing. Alright, So now they're very close, but you can definitely tell one in comparison to the other. Alright, not bad. Let's go a little darker. So we'll take some more of that middle tone and we'll mix it into what we've got here. Compare it, just a little bit darker. Not bad. Not bad at all. Now, this can always be modified. So if by the end of this, the shades are too close together, we can always add or take away. Oh wow, that's almost the same as the background. Because of the contrast between one and the other, we're able to actually see that last tone that we painted on and it looked almost invisible. This one, because it's a little darker and the one next to it was a little lighter, is allowing us to see the one that's left. Alright, so we're a little darker, and now this has provided some contrast to the tone that we had put on before that was a little questionable. Now we're going to go even darker, and we're going to try some of that out. Let's see. Let's see what we get. Ah, this contrast thing, there might be something to it. Now it's actually starting to shape up a little bit. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5 means we're halfway there. We'll take some of this umber. We'll mix it into, not too much. Let's see what we get. Might not be quite dark. Yes, it is. We can go a little darker. Go a little darker. It's not going to hurt. Okay. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm going to stand and make this just a hair darker. Add a little bit of white. And not too much. And we'll mix that in. Okay, a little darker, a little darker, a little bit more. Compare. Oh, that's pretty jarring. Might be a little too dark, but that's okay. When you have too much contrast, like this, then we know what we need to do. So we need to lighten it. Not a problem. Compare it. Looks like we may be getting closer. A bit more white. It's all a process. A little lighter. Have fun with it. It's just a line of brown paint. Okay. Almost there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 away. Alright. Little darker. Have to go a little darker than that. Little darker. That's pretty dark. We may need to lighten that up a little bit for our last one. We'll see. We've got quite a big jump. Alright. And let's go for number 9. Compare. And I'm just taking some of that brown and just putting it right on the canvas now. We're so close. Okay, I like that. Oh, contrast, I like that. That's nice. Alright, so we're getting contrast. We're working on contrast. If you look at one, look at what's next to it. Is the one next to it lighter? Is the one next to it darker? If not, hey, you know what? Let's make it a little darker. See that? I stole it right from the tin there. Then I look up the one next to it. It's still lighter than that. The one time it's okay to steal. There you go. Alright. So this can be just a hair darker. Not too much. Not too much. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there's 10 tones for the 10-tone chart.